2024 has started off with a bang, or at least it should have on paper. Hot on the heels of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Rocksteady's first game in 8 years, Ubisoft has finally released Skull and Bones after more than 10 years in development. Now before we get into the meat of today's video, I do want to thank Ubisoft for sending over a free code for review. So I've been spending some time hitting the seas and singing some shanties, and so far this game, a decade in development, has been fine. Suicide Squad and Skull and Bones are alike in more ways than one. Focusing on Skull and Bones, I've spent about 5 hours with the game so far, and it checks all boxes of what makes a competent video game. The game sets up a steady stream of quests and rewards, the graphics are decent enough to hold their own, and the plot is decent enough to add a touch of purpose to those quests. But all in all, this game is overwhelmingly fine. Skull and Bones is a game that's been put through the ringer. After starting off as a big expansion for Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Skull and Bones evolved into the concept of a pirate MMO called Black Flag Infinite before it shifted direction multiple times across different teams over the following decade. Now that the game has finally landed, it's earned a 60 on Metacritic and OpenCritic, with just 12% of critics recommending the game. If we go back a few weeks to the release of Suicide Squad, you'll find an eerily similar situation. Fans had high hopes for Rocksteady's grand return, but the final product ended up being a live service shooter with a hollow, repetitive gameplay loop. Both are games that went through development turmoil, only to come out on the other side and not meet the expectations of fans, or in the case of Suicide Squad, of shareholders. Skull and Bones plopping overboard comes weeks after Gizmo tried to justify the $70 price tag on Skull and Bones by calling it a AAA game that would deliver in the long run. As these AAA and quadruple-A games land with a thud, smaller titles have taken the spotlight to dominate 2024. Pocket Pair's Palworld has skyrocketed to 25 million players after roughly a month on the market, and Helldivers 2 launched on PS5 and PC with so much success, the servers were at a maximum capacity for the better part of 2 weeks. Keep in mind, all of this is happening while Suicide Squad's concurrent player count is dipping into the hundreds, and Skull and Bones reportedly has roughly 850,000 players, including people that are checking out the free trial. Palworld is a $30 early access Pokemon survival game with guns. Helldivers is a $40 AA third-person action shooter. On paper, they both seem like completely different games, but they've got 3 traits in common. They respect the player's time, they respect the player's wallet, and they're addictively fun. For many people, these 2 games that seemed like they would fly under the radar are creating some of the best gaming experiences they've had in years. People have been raving about how Helldivers 2 might be one of the best games of all time. When smaller, more affordable games are following through and giving players the gaming experience they expect in 2024, quadruple-A games have to be more than fine. Big companies like Ubisoft and Rocksteady that dominated the 2000s and 2010s are facing a reckoning right now. If a game like Skull and Bones had launched in 2015, that quest-focused gameplay loop and decent ship combat could have been a hit with players. If Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League had been an engaging single-player campaign with an evolution of satisfying combat that Rocksteady had become known for, then it may have landed better. But as the gaming industry grows, talented developers with innovative visions are finally finding their footing and focusing on building the games that players are asking for, rather than what executives and board members think will drive the most player engagement and revenue possible. A player's time is the most valuable commodity in the gaming industry, and players are ultimately going to spend that time with the game where they find the most enjoyment. Through the internet and word of mouth, the odds of a game getting attention are more even than ever. Big companies can't rely on their legacy to get attention anymore in a world where any game can go viral on TikTok or drive conversation on podcasts. The big AAA and quadruple-A games may be getting hundreds of millions of dollars in funding and 10+ years of development time, but players don't care about how big a game's budget is or how many A's a company head says the project was. Whether it's from Ubisoft or Arrowhead, $70 or $40, AAA or indie, players care about the game being good. But as always, I'd love to know what you think down below. Are the bigger legacy gaming companies in for a rude awakening in 2024, or do you think that AAA and quadruple-A games are mostly on the right track with just a couple of misses to start off the year? And as always, if you're new here and you enjoy what you see or what you hear, be sure to hit that subscribe button for videos like this every week and gaming news shorts throughout the week to keep you in the loop. But I'll catch you on the next one.